Discover 7 incredible heartwarming stories that will transform your life forever. Mary had always believed in the power of community and the strength of the human spirit. As a single mother of 2, she worked tireless shifts at the local diner with coffee stains on her apron and a smile that could brighten the cloudiest Midwestern days. At only 29, her life was a whirlwind of juggling snack time, nap time, and the never-ending laundry pile. Yet every day began with a glimmer of hope, a belief that if she just worked hard enough, a brighter future awaited her family. But when an unexpected illness swept her off her feet, it felt like the world had come crashing down. Lying in bed, feverish and weak, she couldn't help but worry. How would she pay rent? How would she feed her children? In a town where neighbors relied on one another, her illness was more than a personal struggle. It was a ripple that threatened the delicate fabric of her financial stability. Before long, word spread like wildfire through the quaint town. "Did you hear about Mary?" they murmured at the grocery store and the community center. Soon, stories of resilience began to emerge. There was Tony, the retired veteran who had battled his own demons and now devoted his time to mentoring local youth. His eyes held the weight of experiences too heavy to bear, but he had found healing in helping others. Then there was Adam, a high school dropout who transformed his life and was now a dedicated coach, guiding kids who once felt lost. Lastly, an elderly couple recounted their love story from 50 years ago, reminding everyone of the magic of dreams and togetherness. But as fundraising efforts gained momentum, an uncomfortable undercurrent emerged. Some whispered questions behind closed doors. Should the townsfolk support a single mother on the brink, or should they uphold their belief that success hinged solely on hard work? Doubts and judgments rose, stirring a tension that threatened to unravel the kindness that bloomed in response to Mary's plight. As volunteers filled the community center, baking goods and organizing auctions, the air was thick with anticipation. But it didn't take long for an uncomfortable debate to erupt, sending shockwaves through the crowd. Amidst the spirited chatter and laughter, a sharp voice cut through, one filled with skepticism. Mary felt the eyes of the crowd shift toward her, the whispers growing louder. A chill wrapped around her heart. Was she worth their support? Taking a deep breath, Mary stood up, her voice quaking but resolute. "I'm not asking for pity," she began softly, the room falling into a hush. "I'm asking for understanding." She spoke of her dreams, her children, and the strength it took to keep going each day. Her words were like a lifeline thrown to a ship caught in a storm, reaching every corner of the room. In that moment, she became not just a struggling waitress, but a symbol of resilience in a community of stories. And just as the crowd began to realize the strength in solidarity, a fresh wave of dissent rose, shaking the connection they were starting to forge. Uncertainty hung in the air like an unresolved question. Could the town indeed bridge the gap between judgment and compassion? Would they lift Mary up, or would misunderstandings pull them back into division? The night thrummed with possibilities, leaving hearts racing and minds buzzing with the glimmer of hope, even as shadows of doubt loomed large. The room felt electric, charged with tension. Mary could hear the murmurs, the whispers swirling around her like storm clouds. What had started as a gathering of hope now felt like a battleground. The faces that were once warm and familiar were now masks of uncertainty. "Why should we help?" The voice rang out once again, cutting through the crowd. It belonged to Mark, a local mechanic known for his gruff nature and no-nonsense attitude. "She should be able to handle this on her own, just like the rest of us." A ripple of agreement formed behind him. Mary's heart sank. She could see nods and frowns among her neighbors. She glanced at her 2 children, sitting quietly at a table, their eyes wide and innocent. This wasn't just about her. It was about their future. "Enough!" It was Tony, the veteran she had heard so much about. He stood up, positioning himself between Mary and Mark, his presence commanding attention. "You want to know why we should help?" He took a steadying breath, the weight of his past evident in his posture. "Because lifting each other up is what makes us a community. When one of us falls, we all feel it." The noise quieted as Tony continued, passion igniting his words. "I've been where Mary is. I've fought my battles, and I can tell you, sometimes you can't do it alone. That's the truth. We can't let pride blind us from the reality that life can throw punches we don't see coming. What we need now is to be here for each other. A moment of silence fell over the crowd as Tony's words sank in. Mary felt a flicker of hope reignite within her. But then, as if waiting for a cue, a voice from the back interrupted the stillness. "Maybe Mary just needs to try harder," a middle-aged woman chimed in. "My family worked through tough times without asking for a handout." The conversation shifted again, stirring discontent. Mary could feel frustration rising within her. "It's not about handouts," she said, her voice strong and clear though her heart raced. "It's about humanity. None of us asked for these challenges. We don't know what tomorrow brings. Maybe next week it could be you standing in my shoes." A soft murmur of agreement buzzed through a few corners of the room, but Mark wasn't done. "That's exactly it. Resilience. That's what we need. We shouldn't just give away something for nothing." The debate escalated, each voice rising, pushing and pulling at the emotional threads of the community. Mary looked around the room, searching for some sign of support, something that would pull them back together. Then, just as despair threatened to take hold, a small hand shot up at the front. It was Lily, her 7-year-old daughter. "Mommy believes in people. Can't you believe too?" The room fell into an almost palpable silence at the sound of her innocent proclamation. Hope flickered in the air as eyes shifted toward Mary, each person confronting their own doubts. As the murmurs began to soften, a man near the stage slowly stood. His hands trembled as he cleared his throat. What if we found a way to help Mary that didn't just mean money? We could organize community-wide support, meals, childcare, job leads. His suggestion hung there, a new possibility twisting through the tension-filled space. As soft discussions began to flourish in the crowd, Mary felt the stirrings of something more, a potential bridge forming between despair and compassion. But as these new ideas began to wildflower in the hearts of her neighbors, the shadows of doubt still loomed. Would they truly embrace this change, or would this moment pass without action? With the tension transforming into an earnest dialogue, Mary's heart thudded in anticipation. A new beginning seemed closer than it ever had. Little did they all know, an unexpected challenge awaited them around the corner, one that could threaten the fragile connections they were starting to form. The chatter in the room shifted like sand in the wind. Mary couldn't help but feel that each whispered idea could either build her up or tear her down, like the fragile threads of a tightrope. The tension ebbed and flowed, some voices rising while others fell, a chaotic symphony of concern and hope. "Community support, huh?" Mark scoffed, rolling his eyes. "What does that even mean, free soup? If you ask me, it's all just one big Band-Aid." His dismissive tone cut through the moment like glass. But just as discontent threatened to reign again, Mary felt a familiar warmth envelop her. It was Tony, back at the forefront, with his weathered face set in determination. "It means we don't just stand around talking about resilience. It means we act. Together," he said, pointing to various members of the crowd. "I remember when my own family struggled. Neighbors brought over meals, offered to babysit. We didn't just survive. We thrived because we leaned on each other." An older woman with silver-streaked hair stood up next. "And sometimes we just need to know someone cares. It can be as simple as sharing a meal or helping out with groceries." "I'm in," she added, her voice steady and resolute. The small gestures transformed in that moment, lighting up the room. Slowly, tentative hands began to raise, others joining in with their own offers of assistance. Mary felt a knot in her throat loosen, the presence of kindness pushing against despair. "For every meal you can bring, I can organize a day for childcare," announced a dad from the back, a shy smile creeping onto his face. "I could take a couple of hours off work to help with the job search," another voice chimed in. This one belonging to a young man Mary rarely interacted with. His eagerness surprised her and filled her with gratitude. Feeling buoyed by this wave of empathy, Mary took a deep breath. Thank you all. I never thought asking for help could feel so supportive," she stammered, her heart pulling at the edges of emotion. Yet even as voices rose in agreement, she couldn't shake the nagging doubt inside. What if this transformed into something more than just meal schedules? Just then an even louder murmur broke out. "And what about the garden? We could start a community garden for everyone in need. Fresh produce for families that can't afford it," a woman who volunteered regularly with the local food bank suggested. Mary couldn't believe how far they had come in just a few moments, but lurking behind the excitement, an unanswered question gnawed at her. "And what happens when we try?" "But it isn't enough," she whispered quietly, more to herself than anyone else. Tony caught her gaze, eyes soft yet resolute. "That's the beauty of it, Mary. When we try together, it's never not enough. It's about hope, and hope is what binds us as a community." His voice wrapped around her like a comforting blanket, easing her fears. As conversations flowed and planning turned into action, Mary could sense the shifting tide. While the skepticism was still palpable, it was being overshadowed by a sprout of determination. But outside the window, dark clouds began to gather. It was as if the universe was preparing to test this fledgling solidarity. Storm winds whispered through the trees, a chilling presage of what lay ahead. Mary's heart raced as she realized this was just the beginning. What would happen when the first wave of challenges tested their newfound compassion? As shadows crept along the walls, doubt dipped into her mind, a reminder that some storms refuse to be ignored. Mary's heart pounded in her chest as she watched the storm clouds brew outside. The jovial atmosphere inside the community center contrasted starkly with the darkening sky. Yet, despite the ominous changes in weather, a flicker of hope flickered with every voice in the room. "We can meet weekly, gather our resources and just spread the word," one woman suggested, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Imagine the impact we could have, a network of neighbors helping neighbors." Cheers erupted, and Mary felt as if she were floating above the ground. For the first time in a long while, she saw their small town coming together as one. It felt monumental. But soon after excitement swelled within her, a sinking feeling snaked its way back into her thoughts. What if the storm outside wasn't just the weather? What if it symbolized the obstacles they'd face? Tony's voice cut through her worry once more. "And we'll pair our efforts with emotional support. We need to be there for each other through good times and bad," he declared, gazing fiercely at each person in the room. "It's about more than just resources. It's about listening, sharing stories, and lifting each other up." Mary's eyes glistened. She thought of the stories that could be shared, the little victories in the struggle, the enlightening experiences of despair turning into joy. She could already picture the community garden flourishing, laughter floating on the summer breeze, vibrant tomatoes and cucumbers growing strong under the sun. Amidst the rising chatter, Mark leaned back in his chair, arms crossed defiantly. "Sure, all this sounds nice, but what if it's just another way to gloss over the real problems? We need more than good intentions," he interjected, his skepticism rearing its head again. A hush fell over the room. Feelings hung thick in the air, and for a moment all attention rested on Mary. She took a sharp breath, feeling the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "Isn't that the point, Mark?" she said, surprising even herself. "We begin somewhere. Without that, this community crumbles. We can't fix everything overnight, but we can make a difference right here, right now." The palpable tension dissipated, giving way to murmurs of agreement. Tony clapped her on the back, pride etched across his weathered face. Before long, someone proposed a community potluck to kick off their first formal gathering. "Let's celebrate our willingness to fight and keep this spirit alive," a man shouted excitedly, raising his hand high. Hands raised in harmony, eager voices soared with ideas for dishes and activities. Volleyball games, storytelling evenings, even a talent show. The negativity once held in the air shifted into something bright and hopeful. Then, out of nowhere, a loud crack of thunder shook the building. The lights flickered momentarily as panic seized the room. Murmurs turned nervous, whispers turned frenzied. Mary seized the moment, standing in the center of the group, her voice steady. "A storm is coming, it's in the air, but if we face it together, we can weather anything." Some nodded, and others seemed wrapped in their thoughts, but she could tell the words connected. As the rain began to pour relentlessly against the roof, Mary wondered what lay in store just beyond the initial burst of effort. Would they be able to stand strong against the trials that were bound to come? Outside, the storm raged on, pounding against the walls, just as challenges would hammer away at their unity. Yet in that moment, with her community by her side, Mary realized their collective heart beat louder than any thunder. She closed her eyes, feeling confidence swell within her. She was ready to face whatever was coming, but as the storm howled, a split second of uncertainty crept back into her heart. What would they do when the storm turned violent and courage didn't seem enough? The rain lashed against the windows, creating a rhythm that matched the rapid beating of Mary's heart. The room was alive with chatter again, but a different kind of energy filled the air. A sense of urgency, a need to solidify their plans before the storm outside became a storm within. "Let's not wait," someone shouted, their voice rising above the noise. "We need to set a date for the potluck now." Mary felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. The momentum they had built in such a short time seemed fragile, yet powerful. It was as if they were alight with purpose, ignited by the voices of every person crowding around her. Was this what strength felt like? "All right," Tony took the lead, tracing a finger along the calendar on the wall. "How about next Friday? That gives us time to spread the word." Cheers erupted once more, and Mary felt a flush of warmth. It was an edge of connection, a thread weaving them together despite the distance that had grown in the years prior. Yet, as excitement rippled through the room, Mark's skepticism hovered. "Is it enough?" he asked, his voice tinged with the same note of doubt that had stirred before. What if the potluck doesn't mean anything when faced with actual issues? The cheer faded slightly, and Mary felt the weight of his words. She searched the faces before her, young, old, worn by life yet glimmering with potential. Resilience came in many forms, and maybe Mark had a point. "What if this potluck is the first step?" she proposed gently, meeting his gaze. "It's not just food, it's connection. We start by knowing each other well, then we'll discover how to face everything else." He hesitated, the tension easing from his brow as thought crossed his face. She knew she wasn't going to change his mind overnight, but she had planted a seed of possibility. "Fine. I guess we can try," Mark said with a reluctant nod, and something shifted in the room, a collective exhale of relief. "All right then, let's get to work." Tony clapped his hands together, bouncing back into energizing mode. "We'll split into teams, some for the food, some for planning activities, and some just to spread the word. Who's with me?" Hands shot up, one after another, igniting an eagerness that permeated the space. The storm outside seemed to echo their determination, shaking the building but failing to dampen their spirits. Mary felt herself smile uncontrollably as she joined a team dedicated to organizing the games. They debated everything, from potato sack races to hay rides, the laughter echoing, filling the community center with a brightness even the storm couldn't challenge. As they finalized the activities, a sharp gust of wind sent a shiver through the room. Then it hit her. Outside, in her own heart, fear still lurked. She loved seeing her friends rally, but if they were all going to be vulnerable in forging these connections, what truths might be uncovered? Would they all return the next week to continue? "Okay, let's set a time to meet again after the potluck to see how everyone feels," Mary said, abruptly aware that they were building something fragile and yet beautiful. "Yes, we'll check in. It's important," a voice chirped from the back. Contentment swelled in her chest, and as the meeting wrapped up, anticipation brewed within her. She couldn't shake a thought. Would they be able to shoulder any storms that broke around them? The rain began to ease, but shadows still loomed in the room, darkness seeming to mix with the glow of hope. She wondered, was the potluck enough? Could shared meals really fortify their bonds? But then something shifted again. A flash of lightning lit up the room, and Mary couldn't help but feel the stirrings of something greater. A call to action. Before she could voice it, the community center doors swung open. An unfamiliar figure stood drenched. The shocked silence fell over the group as they all turned to see who had braved the storm. And at that moment, Mary knew their journey had just grown infinitely more complicated. What secrets did this stranger carry into their midst? The figure stood motionless, water pouring off a worn raincoat that clung to their frame. The drop of rain that rolled down a cheek caught a flicker of light, a small reminder of the storm still raging outside. Mary's heart skipped as she dared to step forward, inching away from the comforting crowd behind her. "Are you okay?" she called out, concerned not just for the stranger's well-being, but with an unshakable feeling that their arrival was significant. The stranger lifted their head, revealing a pair of striking blue eyes that seemed to cut through the soaked mess of hair clinging to their forehead. I heard the commotion," came the soft voice, warm despite the cold air wrapped around them. "I didn't mean to interrupt. Not at all." Tony broke through the silence, stepping forward with a welcoming grin. "We could use all the help we can get planning a community potluck next week." Mary felt a mix of hope and trepidation wash over her. While the room felt alive with possibility, she sensed an undercurrent of tension in the air, like an unexpected chill that slipped beneath the laughter. Potluck? The stranger tilted their head, a flicker of intrigue sparking in their gaze. How can food bring people together when they're broken inside? Mark's earlier doubts returned to her mind, echoing in the stillness that followed. Mary's gut twisted. Who was this person, and why did they feel like a mirror reflecting her worries back at her? "Sometimes," Mary managed, though her voice trembled slightly, "it's about the small things. Sharing a meal is just one way of finding connection." "Connection," the stranger mused, their brow furrowing in thought. Is that really enough? It felt like they had gathered for a sermon, everyone hanging on the edge of belief and doubt. For an instant, Mary almost wished she had kept the door to her heart guarded, not ready for this unexpected confrontation. "Tell us your name," Tony urged, attempting to lighten the mood. "We can't just call you the stranger forever, right?" "Right." The stranger chuckled softly, as if cracking through the ice that had descended. "I'm Sam. Just moved into the area." A surge of curiosity danced across the room. Mary could see the others shifting, eyes widening. Who was this new presence they might need to welcome into their circle? "Sam, that's great. We really believe in the power of community here," Tony added, tone encouraging. "I want to believe that," Sam replied, their voice picking up, wrapping around the atmosphere. "But trust takes time." It stung, a raw truth that resonated deeply inside Mary as she thought about the years that had left their scars. The open wounds of feeling, disconnected from those she once knew, echoed back, unyielding. Mary took a deep breath, weighing her words. "You're right. Trust takes time. But is that not worth trying for?" "But what if this just becomes another potluck?" Sam pressed, now earnest. "Isn't it just a Band-Aid?" The room felt electric, their coming together crackling with an energy that tethered them all. "Maybe," Mark interjected, his voice steadier than before, "or maybe it's the spark we've needed. Can't we find out together?" Mary sensed the shift. Something powerful was building, like a weather front moving in. Everyone exchanged glances, grappling with the idea of peeling away layers, vulnerability shining through the cracks. "Let's give it a chance," she said finally, feeling the collective courage swell among them. "What do you say, Sam? Will you join us, even if it's messy?" The room held its breath, waiting for Sam to respond. And right in that moment, Mary realized they were all standing at the edge of a precipice, ready or not, together. "All right," Sam replied, a small smile creeping onto their lips. "Let's see what happens." But as relief washed over the group, lightning flashed outside once more, illuminating Sam's face. Mary noticed a flicker of something deeper hidden in their eyes, as if they held secrets they weren't ready to share. Just how complicated was this new connection going to get? As the meeting came to a close, Mary felt the weight of possibility mixed with the chill of apprehension. She glanced toward the door, the storm still rumbling with intensity. If one soul moving through the rain could shape their gathering, what other storms awaited them? With each heartbeat, she asked herself, was any of this just the beginning of a journey they were unprepared for? The following days passed in a blur. The air was charged with excitement, yet a shadow lingered. Mary found herself replaying Sam's words, "Trust takes time," over and over in her head. Their soft yet guarded demeanor tugged at something deep within her, awakening old memories of trust shattered and rebuilt over the years. What was it that kept their heart locked away? As the potluck drew near, the community buzzed with anticipation. Flyers were pinned to the coffee shop bulletin boards, colorful banners were strung up at the local park, and everyone seemed to contribute, whether it was a dish to share or an idea to enhance the gathering. Mary helped coordinate, her spirit lifted by the collective enthusiasm. Yet every time she caught a glimpse of Sam, a tight knot formed in her stomach. One evening, as Mary prepared her famous chili, an old recipe passed down through generations, she glanced out the window to see Sam walking toward her small house. They hesitated near the door, looking uncertain against the backdrop of her twinkling porch lights. Mary's heart raced as she wiped her hands on a towel and pulled the door open. "Hey, you're just in time. I could use a helping hand in the kitchen," she said, her voice cheerier than she felt. Sam stepped inside, shaking off the raindrops from their coat and scrutinizing the warmth of her cozy space. "I'm always willing to help, if you're okay with that," they replied, an uncertain smile playing at their lips. "Of course. Just don't judge my cooking too harshly." Mary chuckled nervously, grateful for their presence. As they moved closer, she noticed the small inked symbols peeking from under the sleeve of Sam's jacket, hinting at stories yet untold. "Okay, what do you need?" Sam asked, hands shoved deep into their pockets, still searching for warmth. Mary handed them a chopping board. "Could you dice these onions? Just be careful not to cry." As they worked side by side, she felt the tension ease between them. Chopping vegetables became a dance, awkward at first, then flowing seamlessly as they exchanged laughter and stories. Mary learned Sam loved hiking and the outdoors, a shared passion that sparked excitement in her chest. The more they talked, the more she sensed their walls beginning to quiver. But she also felt Sam's gaze often flickered away, as if they were holding pieces of themselves back. Determined, she took a deep breath. "What's something you miss about where you came from?" Sam paused, their knife hovering over the onions. "Honestly, I miss the sense of belonging." Mary's heart clenched. "It's tough, isn't it? The feeling of being on the outside looking in." Sam nodded, their expression distant but touched with yearning. "Yeah, that's why I'm still trying to find my footing." The atmosphere in the kitchen shifted, the air charged with unspoken words and vulnerability. "Sam, I want you to know you're welcome here. You matter to this community." Her vulnerability flickered in Sam's eyes, and for a moment, Mary thought they might share more of that hidden piece of themselves, but just as quickly, they masked their expression, pulling back into the familiar shadows. "Thank you. That means a lot." As they finished preparing the food, Mary felt the connection deepen, yet the uncertainty loomed like the storm clouds outside. Finally, the potluck day arrived, buzzing with life and laughter, yet still tainted by the tension swirling around Sam. As she welcomed guests, Mary caught sight of Sam standing off to the side, observing, a hint of longing in their blue eyes. Just then, an unexpected commotion drew her attention. A child, unable to control their excited energy, accidentally toppled a dessert table, food flying everywhere. In the aftermath, the laughter erupted even louder. Sam stepped forward, eyes alight with a different kind of warmth. Mary watched as they moved instinctively to help clean up, their gentleness conquering the chaos. But a new feeling nagged at Mary. Was embracing chaos the key to connection? And what secrets still lay hidden beneath the surface? As Sam knelt to pick up a fallen cupcake, something inside Mary shifted. She couldn't shake the feeling that part of their journey was hurtling toward a revelation. Holding her breath, she wondered what would unfold in the moments to come. Would Sam finally share their story? Or was the tempest of their past too powerful to confront? The laughter from the potluck filled the air like a warm embrace. Mary watched as Sam helped the child reassemble the dessert table, fitting pieces of chaos back together like a puzzle. There was something liberating about the mess, the way people laughed at the spilled cake, the way it shifted the mood from pretense to authenticity. It felt like a glimpse into the type of freedom Sam craved. When the dust settled, Mary approached Sam. "You handled that like a pro," she said, her smile genuine. "Maybe I should hire you for my next big event." Sam chuckled softly, their shoulders relaxing. "I think I do better with desserts than with onions," they replied, a hint of a spark in their eyes. But just as that connection felt like it was solidifying, their expression turned serious again. "You have a great community here, Mary. I wish I could be part of it." Mary's heart sank a little. "You are part of it. You just need to let yourself be." "I don't know how to." Sam's voice was a whisper now, almost lost beneath the buzz of chatter around them. "Every time I think I'm ready, something inside me pulls back." A pang of empathy washed over Mary. She knew that feeling all too well, the instinct to retreat just as things began to feel right. It's okay. You don't have to rush. Trust takes time, remember? Sam nodded, but the shadow lingered in their eyes. They gazed past her into the clustered laughter and clinking dishes, as if searching for something, an ancient connection perhaps, or a sense of belonging that had long evaded them. The potluck continued around them, vibrant and alive. Colors danced, laughter bloomed, stories unfolded. Mary felt a surge of protective warmth for Sam. "Want to take a walk? Get some fresh air?" she asked, surprising herself with her boldness. "Sure," Sam replied, and together they stepped outside into the twilight, the cool breeze greeting them like an old friend. Once on the path, the sounds of the celebration faded. Mary felt a rush of nerves bubbling up, unsure of how to coax Sam into opening up. "You know, when I was younger, I struggled with feeling like I belonged too," she admitted, glancing sideways at them. "It feels like you're moving through life with one foot in the shadows." Sam looked at her, surprised. "You? But you're so accessible. You bring people together. And yet, I still sometimes feel like an outsider in my own skin," she confessed. "It's a hard thing to navigate, but it helps to have someone who understands." Their eyes locked, a moment that lingered, as if time had slowed down. "I've been through things that make it tough to connect," Sam finally said, vulnerability creeping into their voice. "Why not share them?" Mary suggested, her heart racing. "You might find that you're not alone in this." As they walked further into the quiet of the neighborhood, Sam hesitated, their breath hitching slightly. Mary could feel the tension building, a storm of thoughts swelling within Sam that could break through. If only they could find the words. But before Sam could respond, an approaching sound broke the moment. It was the unmistakable laughter of the children from the potluck, now spilling into the street, blissfully unaware of the weight of the world. Mary sighed, torn between the warmth of the community and the gnawing urge to dig deeper with Sam. This moment felt pivotal, full of promise and dread. "Would you want to talk about it later? I'm here to listen," she offered, unsure whether it would lead to comfort or another looming silence. Sam smiled softly, but as the children neared, their gaze shifted back to the safety of the crowd. "Yeah, I'd like that," they replied, though Mary saw the flicker of hesitation still lingering. She couldn't shake the feeling that the heart of this journey was still waiting to be uncovered. What was Sam truly holding back? What shadows clung to their spirit, begging for the light of understanding? As the potluck grew louder again, Mary felt the bittersweet ache, hope intertwined with apprehension. Would Sam ever find the courage to unveil their truths, or would the walls keep them apart, tangled in invisible threads of the past? The laughter behind them grew more distant as they continued walking. The evening air was cool, and the smell of grilled vegetables lingered, reminding Mary of family BBQs from her childhood. She could hear the sound of music drifting on the wind, mingling with snippets of conversations. But here it felt quieter, almost sacred. "Do you hear that?" Sam asked suddenly, stopping in the middle of the path. They tilted their heads slightly as if listening for something specific, hidden in the shuffle of laughter and melodies. Mary smiled, appreciating the moment of stillness. "What do you mean?" "Just everything. It's beautiful but chaotic. It's like I can hear the joy, but I can also feel the weight behind it. Sometimes I wish I could just lock it all away and feel free." Mary sensed an opening, a rare flicker of willingness to share. "You don't have to lock it away. You can carry joy and pain, you know." Sam hesitated, their eyes reflecting a battle between hope and fear. "I've spent so long pushing people away. I don't know how to let them in without feeling vulnerable. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff, and every time I think I can jump, I freeze." Mary's heart ached for them. She took a small step closer, willing to offer her presence as a safety net. Being vulnerable doesn't mean weakness. It can lead to strength. Friendships, love, community, they all thrive on vulnerability. It's like the potluck. We share our food and stories, our laughter and mishaps. That's how we create bonds. Sam looked down, their fingers twisting together nervously. "But what if they don't accept me? What if I'm too broken? Everyone has their battles. You're not alone in this, she reassured. I mean, look at tonight. Everyone brought something imperfect. Crooked cakes, last-minute dishes. We laughed, shared, and those little imperfections made the night memorable. A tear escaped Sam's eye, shimmering in the fading light. You make it sound so simple, they whispered. But Mary could see that the warmth of her words was beginning to penetrate the walls Sam had built. It's not easy, I know, but every journey starts with a single step, Mary encouraged, her voice steady. What's a small step you feel comfortable taking? For a moment, silence enveloped them, a cocoon where hope began to weave itself between their hearts. Sam's breath evened out and a small smile broke through. Maybe talking to you is my first step. Absolutely, she beamed, relieved to see a flicker of connection. And after that, maybe you could attend the book club. You love stories and we always talk about silly things. It's a safe place. Their smiles turned shy, but Sam nodded, contemplating the offer. I'll think about it, it sounds nice, but what if I can't handle it? Mary felt the urging wish to reassure them. You don't have to have all the answers now, just take time to explore the possibilities. I'll be there with you. As they finally turned back toward the sound of laughter, Sam took a deep breath. The walls they had kept so tightly bound around their heart were beginning to waver. But just as they reached the edge of the gathering, a cry pierced through the air, an urgent call that echoed in the night. Mary felt her heart skip as she recognized the tone. It was the unmistakable panic of a child, the kind that sent a chill down your spine. What was that? Sam asked, their eyes widening. I don't know. Let's go check, Mary replied instinctively. They rushed toward the sound, both uncertainty and urgency propelling them forward. What awaited them on the other side of the laughter? Would the evening turn into another lesson about vulnerability, or would it reveal something deeper and far more troubling? As they hurried back toward the commotion, Mary's heart raced. The laughter was quickly replaced by panic, sharp and desperate. Every instinct told her something wasn't right, but she grasped Sam's arm, a silent encouragement that powered them onward. They reached the crowd, a small cluster of children clustered around a table. Mary pushed through, anxiety bubbling in her chest. What's going on? She called out, trying to make sense of the chaos. A young boy, tears streaming down his face, looked back at her with wide, frightened eyes. Lily fell. She slipped on something and bumped her head. Mary's stomach dropped, fear tightening its grip. Her eyes caught sight of her daughter, seated on the grass with a girl from the neighborhood cradling her head in her lap. Both girls looking terrified. Without a second thought, she rushed forward, crouching beside her daughter. Lily, sweetheart, are you okay? Lily glanced up, and Mary displayed a quick smile to reassure her. Beneath that smile, worry twisted like a vine inside her. I bumped my head, Mummy, Lily whimpered. It hurts. Gathering her arms around her daughter, she carefully checked for any visible injury. All right, you're going to be okay. Just breathe. Sam knelt beside them, eyes darting around and seeking a first aid kit. I can help. They leapt up and scrambled toward the food tables, searching for something, anything to assist. Mary tenderly brushed Lily's hair from her face. Let's sit you up slowly, honey, she whispered. As they sat together, she felt the panic within the crowd subside slightly, reassurance growing that Lily would be all right. Mommy, I'm scared. Lily's small voice trembled, each word a plea for comfort. I know, my love. But we're here together, Mary said, pulling her daughter close as Sam returned with a few napkins, grace under pressure radiating from them. Here, just put these on her forehead for now while we look for ice, Sam suggested, kneeling beside them again, their focus intense and calm. They didn't flinch, even as Mary felt her heart race. With gentle hands, they pressed the napkin against Lily's forehead. For the first time that night, Mary felt gratitude growing within her for Sam's presence. This person, standing in the face of chaos, was becoming more than just an outsider. It felt as if they were crafting their own place in this circle of care. As the remaining adults gathered, Tony emerged from the back of the crowd. He'd always been steady in a storm. Mary, what do you need? His voice was low, yet filled with that familiar strength she'd come to rely on. Mary glanced up, relieved. She needs ice, maybe a ride to the clinic, just to be safe. Got it. Tony wasted no time as he ushered others nearby. "All right, who can help find ice? Someone check the back of the van. I've got a first aid kit." With urgency, the crowd split, energy shifting into collaboration. Mary felt the momentum build, realizing this was what community looked like, people banding together in moments of fear and need. As they sorted and made quick arrangements, Sam's presence calmed her heart. "You did well," they whispered gently, ensuring Lily felt safe, even amid confusion. Moments later, a local nurse stepped forward, having heard the commotion. "I'll take a look," she said, skillfully assessing Lily's condition. Mary watched the nurse take control, her demeanor birthing safety at the scene, and slowly the anxiety began to fade as Lily seemed to respond positively. As Mary held her daughter close, she felt the weight lifting, a relief flooding through her. "You're very brave, Lily," she whispered, wrapping her arms tighter around her daughter, comforting both of them. Sam, still kneeling, exchanged meaningful glances with Mary, something unspoken building between them. It wasn't just about the evening's events anymore, it was about trust, vulnerability, and understanding deeper connections crafted through shared moments, even ones filled with fear. Within minutes, Lily was stabilized, and Tony proudly announced, "All right, who's ready to take her to the clinic just to make sure?" It was a moment of triumph amongst anxiety, a testament to the power of their resilience. "I'll go," Sam volunteered, and Mary felt a surge of gratitude. "No, really, it's important. I can hold your hand, Lily. You'll be all right. I promise." The sincerity in Sam's voice melted into Mary's heart. Maybe Sam could let others in after all. Mary nodded gratefully. "Thank you, Sam. She would love that." And in that moment, amidst chaos, something transformed. They were no longer isolated experiences. They were ingredients in this shared narrative, intertwined in ways that meant far more than just the surface. As they made their way toward the car, Lily gripped Sam's hand tightly, the warmth breaking the last remnants of her fear. Mary followed them, and as she glanced back at the community, she realized they were all there, supporting one another, a tapestry woven from love and compassion. "I'm proud of us," she whispered to herself, glancing at the faces of her neighbors who had rallied for Lily. For just a moment, they shared not only a potluck but a profound journey. The storms, whether weathered or yet to come, became bridges, not blocks. Each challenge would only serve to deepen their roots in the soil of connection, the very foundation Mary had believed in all along. As they drove away, the laughter from the potluck faded behind them, but hope surged forward, both for her family and for Sam, who needed their own rightful place in this fabric of community. This is only the beginning, Mary thought, filled with a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. Trust, light, and love would guide the way forward. And as the laughter faded into the distance, the promise of something beautiful emerged on the horizon, each step taken on this shared journey, creating bonds unbreakable, hearts wide open, ready for whatever came next. This is the moment to share this journey with others who need inspiration. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories that will light up your heart. Leave a like right away to feed the algorithm and ensure you keep receiving this positivity. Comment your feelings about Lily's journey and Sam's growth. Let's spark a conversation. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. True fans understand the impact of lifting each other up, and together we can keep this momentum going.